I have been on the radio, 3 Counties Radio. Yes, talking about my article in the newspaper, in the Daily Mirror, in the Daily Star, about Janet the doll. And she said that she has this doll in her family, which they do not like, they hate it.
So even though they told you they locked Janet the doll in the attic, and they can hear her walking around the attic, and they were really scared of the doll, you bought her anyway?
Yes, I still took her. I mean, how crazy was I?
The doll told you her name was Janet?
Through the equipment I was using, the spirit box, rituals and dark magic.
Wait a second, so what does Janet, the haunted doll, want?
I don't know. I think she just likes to annoy me, really, because she used to be locked away.
Do you own a doll that is a little bit creepy, scary even, haunted perhaps? A man from just outside the 3 Counties in Northamptonshire says he owns Janet, a 119-year-old doll that is haunted. Miki, who's a paranormal investigator, claims the doll blinks, moves by itself, and even gives people who are near it chest pains. Miki joins us now. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, how are you?
I'm very well, so welcome to the programme. There might be some people listening to this who think this is just a bit of old rubbish. Dolls can't give people chest pains, that's impossible.
Yeah, I've heard that over the years, yes.
So okay, let's start from the beginning here, Miki. How did you come across, how did you get to own Janet the doll?
Basically, obviously I've been a paranormal investigator for 14 years now, and I was speaking to a lady in America, in Texas, who knew that I was into like haunted items, and she said that she has this doll in her family, which they do not like, they hate it, and they want to get rid of it basically. So they said, "Oh, would you like to take it off our hands?" So I thought, yeah, okay, because obviously what they were telling me was quite spooky and scary. They used to lock it in the attic because they didn't like it in the house, and then hear footsteps running up and down. And yeah.
So even though they told you they locked Janet the doll in the attic, and they can hear her walking around the attic, and they were really scared of the doll, you bought her anyway?
Yes, I still took her. I mean, how crazy was I?
I don't know. It sounds like a very good plot for a horror movie.
Yeah. It was a challenge that I wanted to take on, and I thought I could work with her using various ghost hunting equipment, and just to see if it was actually haunted. So,
how did you get Janet from the States to Northamptonshire?
The lady Julie who owned her, it was actually her grandmother's originally, and she boxed her up and sent her over to me.
And did it come with any story? What was the story? You know, and the claims were there, but what was the story behind Janet?
They didn't actually know her name, to be fair, but she said that this is a doll. She's made of leather, and she's from 1903. And they actually think that her grandmother was into some sort of like rituals and dark magic, which could possibly be involved with the doll. And but yeah, she didn't have a name. And so I thought when she arrived, I unboxed her and did some little videos experimenting with her spirit box session, just to see if I could try and communicate if there was a spirit there. Obviously I didn't know, it was just a claim. And she told me her name was Janet. So
what? The doll told you her name was Janet?
Through the equipment I was using, the spirit box, which is a radio that does not stop scanning, and it's believed the spirits can manipulate the airwaves and the radio bleed to give messages and answers to your questions.
Hang on, so you were saying, doll, what's your name? There's like crackle hisses. My name is Janet.
No, I just said like, hi, my name is Miki. I'd like to know who you are. If there's a spirit attachment, could you tell me your name, please? And then the name Janet came through. So.
All right. Did that not spook you out a little bit?
No, because I love all that. That's what I do it. That's the reason I do it, to try and communicate with the other side. So.
But you've taken a 119-year-old doll that's involved in rituals made of leather, transported her from a home in America to your home in Northampton. Is she not a bit hacked off?
But yeah, she doesn't like me. All the times I've worked with her, she's sworn at me, told me to go away. She's made me feel sick on many occasions while I've been working with her. Now, that may be coincidence, who knows? But, yeah.
Look, okay, Miki, I'm really enjoying it. And I thank you for coming on. I'm enjoying talking to you, right?
Right.
How can you prove any of this?
I can't prove any of it because obviously it's my interpretation of what I've been, like my findings. So if people that are in the paranormal world would know the equipment I'm using and know the results that I'm getting with it, would be obviously true. But people that aren't really into it, I think, oh, that's a load of rubbish. That's just a radio talking. So it's how you interpret it, really. But I can't prove there is a haunted. That doll has a spirit inside it. No, I can't prove that, obviously.
But you say it hates you. You say it does things that. I mean, what else has it done to you? Does it blink?
Yes, that was actually. Well, I took it to an event a few years ago in Mansfield, and another team actually looked after Janet at that point on the night, and they were taking photos, and that's where the blinking picture came from. But they believe they captured a picture of her blinking, and it does actually look like her eyelids are down with eyelashes, and she doesn't have any eyes. She just has
that's one of the spooky things, right?
Yeah.
Does Janet move by herself?
She has come off my shelf a couple of times recently, and the way she is located on the shelf, she shouldn't actually move at all. There's no reason why she should fall off.
Wait a second. So what does Janet, the haunted doll, want?
I don't know. I think she just likes to annoy me, really, because she used to be locked away in a box in my shed because my family didn't like her, didn't want her in the house. But then I sort of snuck her out and put her in my office on the shelf. So, and that's when this stuff started to happen more regularly now. I think because she's free and she's like, hey, I can do stuff.
Right. Is she haunted by one soul or several souls? I mean, what's going on there?
I believe it is just Janet, but I've had a couple of spiritual mediums that have worked with her over the years, and they have said that there's actually a man attached to it as well, which we believe is some sort of dark energy that actually helped put Janet into like the doll as a vessel type thing. So,
have you ever thought of getting someone in to kind of, cleanse Janet the doll?
No, what would be the point? That's not the reason why I want to keep her. I'm here to work with her to try and gain more evidence to maybe change other people's perspective, their views. So, yeah. No, I'm not going to cleanse them. No way.
You don't want to liberate her soul. She's trapped in this body of a doll.
I can't prove that, but I know what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying talking to you, Miki. We a few weeks ago we spoke to an expert about the skeletons that were being unearthed in Buckinghamshire along the route of HS2. But as I understand it, you have some concerns about this.
Oh, what? Digging up all the old remains of the bodies?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, obviously, if it is a burial ground, then obviously there's going to be some sort of attachment from the spirit, from the people that used to live there. And if they're digging up, obviously spirits do not like change. Like it's in a house. If you've got an old house and you suddenly start renovating it, if there is a haunting in the house, then you will get more activity because they're not happy. Like, what you're doing to my house.
So are you suggesting that HS2 is going to be?
It's going to be possessed.
Yes.
Yeah, on the train. Yeah, don't get on the train.
Well, that's going to be interesting. Now, do you ever worry about Janet? If she hates you, are you not concerned that she might one day, when she can, unleash some evil force on you?
Well, there is. If you believe that, then there is that possibility, I believe. So, no, I don't know. If you say it like that, obviously it's not good.
But if she's haunted and it's some sort of dark energy, and you've taken her from her home in America, transport her over here, and she blinks, she moves, and she gives people chest pains, could it not be, Miki, that when you're not looking, when you're least expecting it, just like in the horror films, she's going to do you?
Well, you never know. It is a risk that I'm quite happy to take as I go on my journey into this spiritual world. So
she doesn't worry you or scare you?
No.
And have your family come to grips with Janet?
Yeah, they're sort of used to her now. They weren't happy at the beginning, so, but they're okay now. They say, "Oh, it's Janet." So,
Miki, good talking to you. Thank you for your time this afternoon.
awesome. Thank you very much.
Take care, my friend. Miki York,
Cheers.
paranormal investigator. Let me just run through the details, and then you can tell me what you think. And you can see a picture of Janet on my Facebook page, Roberto Perrone Show, or on Twitter at Talk Roberto. And I'm going to delete the picture at the end of the program because she's just freaking me out. Miki bought Janet. She's 119 years old, a doll that lived with a family in America. The family in America were concerned about Janet the doll. They were concerned it was haunted, possessed. They would lock it in the attic and claimed they could hear her walking in the attic. She blinks. There are claims she moves by herself, and if you go near it, you get chest pains. Miki bought Janet over from America, and it's now living in his house. It's up to you. 08081 00 8800. Because you either believe this is complete nonsense, or you've seen a picture of Janet, the leather doll, and you think, oh, crap, she looks creepy. Michael, good afternoon. Says Rob, wow, that's creepy. She's made of leather. Lyndon says, Rob, I wouldn't want her in my house. She really spooks me. I couldn't hurt her though, just in case. I would part with her to someone who would care for her and wish her well. That shows what a nice person you are. I'd probably just encase her in concrete and smother her with holy water just in case. But we all got different techniques, haven't we? You can text 81333. Start your message 3C. It's amazing how many people think she looks like Sue Pollard. We're just looking into this, thanks Becky for this, the case of Robert the Doll in Florida. There's an entire museum dedicated to Robert the Doll at the East Martello Museum in Key West, Florida. He was once owned by a painter, author and Key West resident Robert Eugene Otto, and according to folklore, if you look at Robert the Doll, you will suffer either one or all of these things: car accident, broken bones, job loss, divorce and other misfortunes. That's very jolly good news, isn't it? Apparently Robert the Doll is the most haunted doll in the world. All I know is you're looking at the pictures of Janet the creepy doll, and some of you are getting very freaked out. Sue says, I wouldn't want that thing looking at me. It's creepy. Facebook.com, Roberto Perrone Show. Rupert says, I want to put her in my cellar. You've got a cellar. Neil says, why give whack jobs the publicity? Neil, do you know how local radio works? You can text the programme 81333. Start your message 3CR. Now, it's fair to say that when you look at Janet, this very old American doll, who it's believed was used in some sort of very strange rituals, she came from her home in America, where the family who owned her, or who handed her down through the years, used to lock her in the cellar. They were so terrified of her, and when she was in the cellar behind locked doors, now it could have been rats, could have been mice, the pigeons, but they think it was the doll. They sold her to Miki in Northamptonshire. He thinks it's hilarious. He didn't know the doll's name, but when he was trying to gauge if there was some sort of spirit in Janet, he claims the doll told him, my name is Janet. Something like that, right? I don't know. Have a look at the pictures. See what you think. She does look made of leather. Made of leather. Hair like Shirley Temple. Big curls. No eyes. And really thick, bushy eyebrows. Now you know, because you know, anybody with thick, bushy eyebrows, they're probably untrustworthy. But how can I forget? Because I remember Annabelle the doll. That film was mega creepy. Danny has sent me a little video on Twitter of Chucky, another doll that was really bad attitude. That doll, really bad attitude. Graham says, Rob, burn it. We're trying to track down this museum in Florida where they are the custodians of Robert the doll, supposedly the world's most evil doll. I can't wait for that one. Now, people can get a bit funny when it comes to dolls. Some people love them. Some people find them a little bit creepy. Have you ever had a doll that gave you cause for concern? Alan Goldsmith is from House on the Hill Museum, Toy Museum in Mount Fitchett. Alan, good afternoon to you.
Hello, Roberto. How are you?
I'm very well. Good to hear you again, Alan. Hope you're looking after yourself.
Yeah.
Now, Alan, what do you make of this story? Can a doll be haunted?
I don't think so. It's all in the mind. I mean, people do get, as you quite rightly said, get very affectionate to their dolls or teddy bears, and other lots of women that get spooked by dolls. You know, they come in and they get a spooky feeling. But personally, I think it's all in the mind. But who am I to say, really? You know,
because it's the way they look. If they're very lifelike, they can have and the more you spend looking at them, of course, the more your mind plays tricks on you.
That's very, very true, especially the older biscuity dolls. It's the eyes that move, and, you know, they do have sort of weird looks, to be quite honest.
I don't know if you've seen a picture of Janet. She does look... people have been very, very unkind, saying she looks like a creepy version of Sue Pollard. But I think that's probably... she has a certain look, this Janet.
Has she? I don't know. I mean, they've all got weird looks, haven't they, to be quite honest? But
08081 008800. We've also been talking about creepy dolls. Janet, the 119-year-old doll that its owner, Miki, says is haunted, maybe even possessed. There are pictures on my social media. Margaret says, Rob, I must be weird. I know. She says, I must be weird, as I don't find her looking evil at all. Lovely hair. She does have lovely Shirley Temple-like hair. Becky says, Rob, look up the story of Robert the doll. It's uncanny how many people are saying, yeah, Rob, the picture you've posted of Janet, the creepy doll, is indeed a little bit creepy. But Rob, check out Rob the Evil Doll. We're doing just that. The museum is in Florida, I believe. Producer Usman's been working this for the last 2.5 hours, done some work at least. We're going to speak to the museum because apparently Robert the doll is the most evil doll in the world. Oh, great. Dad says, I'm off to speak with my daughter's dolls and cuddly toys to find out if she's calling them the wrong names. This is after we spoke to Miki about an hour or so ago, who is the owner. He's a paranormal investigator. He owns Janet the doll, who he purchased from a family in America who just wanted to get a shot of her. Sounds like a plot for a film, doesn't it? Miki only found out the doll was called Janet when he asked her through his... paranormal investigator type equipment, and the doll, I think he said, what's your name? And the doll said, my name is Janet. Something like that. So he knows Janet is called Janet. He claims she's haunted, blinks, moves by itself, and even gives people who go near Janet chest pains, which sounds really ghastly. Now, you probably think it's a load of old nonsense, but when you look at pictures of Janet, it looks, whoa, oh. Oh, she says, dolls are creepy, always scared me. Janet is definitely creepy. You can text the programme, as you know, 81333, start your message, 3CR. Jasmine says, Rob, I think it's got more to do with the uncanny valley than anything else. Just going by some of my MA research into the uncanny and its connection to dolls. Jasmine, thank you. Can you explain what that means, Janet? Because I've never heard the expression uncanny valley before. We are going to talk to this museum in America. This is after you... Several people pointed out, Rob, forget Janet. Why don't you talk about Robert the doll? I never realised there's even a film, a horror film, about Robert the doll. And apparently this thing is very bad. Jolly good. We have been talking about this scary doll called Janet, 119 years old, made of leather, no eyes, but big, bushy eyebrows. I don't think you can trust people with big, bushy eyebrows and the monobrows. They look so... Anyway, there are pictures of Janet, which I've posted on my socials. You have a look. At Talk Roberto on Twitter. And on Facebook, Roberto Perrone Show. Susan says she would look better in some nicer clothes and maybe a bow in her hair. The room she's in looks really creepy. A good clean and a lick of paint, perhaps. The room does look creepy. I don't want to spend too much time looking at the doll because she looks really weird. We heard from Miki, who currently owns. He paid money for her. He claims she blinks. She's got no eyes. He claims she falls off her perch, her shelf perch. What I'm talking about. But more importantly, he claims that when people go near her, they get a chest pain. Have a look at the pic. I know it sounds. Let's be honest. It sounds ludicrous. It sounds bonkers, doesn't it? You think, what a load. And then you look at a picture of Janet. You think, get out of here. And how many horror films have featured dolls? There's Annabelle. That film is. And there's one. I mean, I haven't watched them because I just feel they're preposterous. I thought Annabelle the doll was the world's most haunted doll, so much so they keep it locked away in a box. That's what I thought. No, Paul. We've got Janet in Northampton, but actually the most haunted doll in the world, could have had another name, is Robert the doll. Shirley on Twitter's Rob, she's scary. I hope I don't have nightmares now. You won't have nightmares. It's only a doll, Shirley.
3 Counties Radio.
Before 6, we'll cross live to America and speak to somebody who knows a lot about Robert the doll. There's a whole mysterious enigma about Robert the doll. You're laughing, Jeff Doyle.
Oh, come on.
Have you? Robert the doll is the most haunted.
Unbelievable. Robert, is it called Robert?
Robert the doll.
Robert the doll. Do me a favour.
I didn't know. Listeners have been telling me, and they're really worried.
But worried about what? A doll?
You're not supposed to take his picture.
Why not? What's going to happen?
Bad things.
Oh, yeah.
Bad things.
What a load of old rubbish.
Let me read you this letter that was
on.
sent to Robert the doll after some... No, you're not... Here we go, right?
Go on.
This was written to Robert the doll in October 3rd, 2010, from somebody who went to the museum and took its picture without asking. You'd ask permission of the doll. And the letter says, "Dear Robert, I visited you a little over a month ago, and I never asked you if I could take your picture. And let me tell you definitely made me regret that. The day after I returned home from Florida, a little less than a week after I visited you, I got my first speeding ticket, which ended up taking a month to get paid because they supposedly lost it. You're laughing. They lost the ticket. And then I've been having problem after problem with my car. It's gotten to the point where it's not really even logical to keep fixing it. So basically what I'm saying is that I'm sincerely sorry," they're writing this to a doll, "for not asking before I took your picture. That was very rude of me, and you definitely, 2 Fs, have made me learn my lesson. I hope to visit you again soon, Robert the doll, and trust me, I will for sure ask before taking your picture. P.S. I'm so sorry."
Maybe not speed and get a new car. I mean, that would be one suggestion I'd have.
You're laughing now. You're mocking now. We're going to talk to the guy who looks after Robert the doll in the next 20 minutes. Don't mock. He's too quiet.
Oh, well, then I'm just back on the grind, aren't I?
What about the picture of Janet the doll? Have you seen Janet the doll?
I thought Janet was the doll. Janet the doll was the doll?
No, that's the doll. That's Janet the doll. The other doll we're going to talk about shortly is Robert the doll.
Well, what does Robert the doll look like?
Oh, you don't want to know. I mean, look at that. There have been films. It looks like a mummified doll. Don't look at it. And you're not supposed to take a picture of Robert the doll. Otherwise, your life is cursed.
Right, here we go. Here's my phone.
Yes.
I'll take a photo of that. Yes? And you're going to say, if I do that, I'm cursed, am I?
Don't curse yourself. No, don't curse yourself. No, don't do that. It's called...
It's not going to be a curse. It's a load of rubbish.
I don't know, Jeffrey.
Well, you do know.
You do know. Don't be careful, because don't tempt fate.
No.
Just be careful. You know. This was all started by Becky. In a moment, Alan in Newport Pagnell. Hello, Alan says, "Rob, I've just seen a picture of Robert the doll, and he's the spitting image of Peter Beardsley, former footballer. Don't diss the doll. This is the thing. Don't disrespect." What are you laughing at?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it does look like Peter Beardsley.
Don't disrespect the doll. This was all started by Becky, who said, "Check out Robert the doll." And I'd never heard of Robert the doll. And then people said to me, "Oh, Robert, check out Robert the doll in Florida. It's really bad."
You know, it's not very often I'm with Jeff Doyle on things, but I am on this one. I don't get it. I'll be honest.
Have you seen a picture of Janet?
I have seen a picture of Janet, and I'll be honest, Janet is very scary looking.
Yes.
But I mean, does it really cause you bad luck and problems and all of this? I mean,
people claim so.
I don't know. I'm not one to believe in the supernatural. I'll be honest, Rob. I tried to get to do a show from the Hellfire Caves in where is it, Wickham, isn't it? But we couldn't make it happen. But I've been told that is the scariest place one of the scariest places in the three counties. But then again, I'm not sure. I don't know if I'd be.
Steve says, Rob, isn't there a similar doll in Italy? Think it might be called Roberto. No, he's thinking there is in Sicily, in Palermo. There's the catacombs.
Yes,
right,
indeed.
and they have all the bodies there in the catacombs. You pay a few quid, you go in deep underground, and there's a little girl there. I can't remember her name. She passed away when she was 13 years old.
Right,
and so heartbroken was her father, who was a wealthy, apparently nobleman, that he managed to find a doctor, someone who had some sort of embalming technique. He paid this guy his fortune, and he embalmed this body a couple of hundred years ago. And this little girl, Rosalia, when you see her, she hasn't aged. It's 12 minutes to 6. Thank you for all the comments. You've been so kind. We've been talking today about Miki York, who's a paranormal investigator who's from Northamptonshire. He owns Janet, the 119-year-old doll that he claims is haunted. He told us he thinks the doll blinks, it moves by itself, and even gives people who are near the doll chest pains. Well, that was Miki who joined us earlier, telling us about his connection with Janet the doll. And when we had that conversation, it was Becky who said, have you seen or do you know about Robert the doll? And I hadn't come across this, and then everyone started texting me saying, Rob, check out Robert the doll in a museum in Florida, and we've done just that. David Sloan authored the biography Robert the doll, spends time with him every night, and has devoted a good part of the last 25 years researching Robert the doll. David, welcome to the programme.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for joining us. Can we start with this? What is the story concerning Robert the doll?
Robert originated in 1904. He was created by the Stife Company, and he was given as a gift to a young boy in Key West, and the boy developed this bizarre attraction to the doll and started blaming him for everything. And people around town started saying the doll was alive. And fast forward to 117 years later, the doll is in a museum, and he's received close to 10,000 letters, a lot of them from people asking for his curse to be removed.
Stife are a very famous company. They make bears, dolls, a fantastic company. How is it that Robert has ended up in Key West, and what is it about Robert that's so particular?
Well, the family that brought Robert here, their last name was Otto, and they had ties. Originally they immigrated from Prussia, so family members were over there, and they exchanged gifts with other family members, and they would have brought the doll back. And the doll, he's very rare, his size. He was probably intended to be a display in a store, or perhaps even made to look like a child. Some people think he was made to look like the boy he was given to.
Wow. So where does the story of the curse and this story that you're not supposed to take Robert's picture without permission?
Yeah, and there's a lot of legends about Robert, and a lot of them are incorrect, and a lot of them are dangerous. The one about asking permission is a pretty bad one, because it's a terrible idea to ask permission from an entity, yet you have all these people going in there. So a lot of misinformation, and that happens with any good story, with any story as it becomes legend. Some things are going to get twisted.
You mentioned the word entity. What entity?
Well, with Robert, what a lot of psychics believe is that there are multiple entities possessing the doll. I've got a theory that the original spirit is actually a child who died in the house where the doll was. You see, the boy's father was a doctor. And when the mother lost her child, they believe she put a curse using voodoo. And it created this portal inside of the doll where there's a lot of different spirits. So now when people disrespect the doll, and it's always about respect. It's not about asking permission. It's not about saying hello or goodbye. It's about respect. And people who are disrespectful, it's almost as if that little child brushes them with some type of a tar, and then the other spirits come out of that portal and latch onto them and make their lives an ever-living hell.
Yeah, we don't want
and the
that.
only way to remove that curse, the only way to remove that curse is to apologize.
Robert, you've authored the biography on Robert the Doll. I mean, you've devoted a good part of the last 25 years researching him. What have you found?
Well, I found that a lot of legends have truth. When you look at the different elements, some of the stories are sensational and things as they're retold lose little bits. So when we started off with Robert, all we knew was that he was a haunted doll and that people have been talking about him moving around and people talked about him doing strange things and causing problems. But as we started dissecting each of the legends, we found his true roots. Before we were looking into it, nobody knew that he was a Stipe because his ear was missing. Stipe has the button in ear. But one of the legends was he was created by an angry servant or an angry nanny. And we found the angry nanny and the angry servant. So we discover a lot of truth in the legends. And then since Robert's been on display since 1996, there's thousands of people. I mean, every single day people leave there saying, oh, my God, I saw the doll move.
There have been, I think, 3 films made about Robert. Whether they're true or not is we don't know. I've actually not seen the films. I wasn't aware of Robert until earlier today, David. But is there a story concerning people who've made the films? Yeah,
it's actually pretty tragic. There are, I think, 4 films out about Robert the Doll, and they were done by a filmmaker in Wales named Andrew Jones, and they're all unauthorized. And I haven't seen them, but the reports are that, they're pretty much B movies. He does a lot of different ones like that. But the tragic thing is, several months ago, he was struck with a mystery illness, and now he's facing eviction. He has to be moved by ambulance because he can't get around at all. He can't do anything. And they did a fundraiser. They didn't even reach 23% of their goal. So he's having nothing but bad luck. And he's not the only one. He made the movie Ozzy Osbourne, your guy from Birmingham. He was here, and he started his show Ozzy and Jack's World Detour with Robert the Doll. And they bought a small stuffed Robert doll and took it on their road trip. And Ozzy blamed it for everything. He blamed it when their van broke down. He blamed every single problem. And then Ozzy tried to kill the doll in a microwave oven. He tried to blow it up on the beach. And he thought it was all good TV. And then his life just went downhill. He had a staph infection in his thumb that put him in the hospital. He almost died.
Right. How does one stay on the right side? Most people don't believe it, of course, the story, David. But how does one stay on the right side of this entity?
It's just a matter of respect. Respect, just like you give a person. When people are disrespectful, because a lot of people go in and they want to challenge these types of things. So they'll go in and extend the middle finger. They'll stick out their tongue. They'll be disrespectful. They'll call them names, and those are the people who usually have the problems.
Really, and I mean the museum in Florida. It looks like it's really busy.
Yeah. He's one of the star attractions now. When they first brought him to the museum, they didn't even put him on display initially. He was just put in the back room and covered with a sheet, and the staff noticed him moving around. It wasn't until years later that they put him on display, and people started noticing him moving in his case, and people would have problems with their cameras, batteries draining. They'd take entire rolls of film, and this is before cell phones, obviously. When they got home and got their film developed, only the pictures of Robert the Doll would turn out.
David, thank you for joining us. We're out of time. Can I ask you? You spent a big chunk of your life researching, writing about Robert the Doll. Has it ever bothered you? Has he ever interfered with you?
Oh yeah, I went through several weeks of where I was pretty much terrified. Dual thoughts yanked from my bed, objects moving around the house. So I went through a really bad time, and that was before I realized it was multiple entities.
David, we're out of time. I wish we could spend more time with you. Listen, I wish you all the very best, and thank you once again for joining us from Key West, Florida. David Sloan, who authored the biography of Robert the Doll. I'd never heard of this doll until you started telling me. You're a very clever audience.